Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Poduska, star maker for entrepreneurs who want to unlock their potential, command any stage, and make blockbuster profits. Welcome to Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a brand that makes you happy and profitable. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Poduska, and welcome to this episode of Thrive, Building Community Using Video with my special guest, Brandy Sales. Brandy Sales is a 4-time international award-winning video producer who works with nonprofits and has raised well over $100 million using video. Brandy and his video marketing team also work with entrepreneurs, helping them gain thousands of leads and consistently increase their revenues. Brandy also works with the youth of the city of Boston and also Brooklyn, New York, to help them use video to create projects and to build their confidence. It was so great to have Brandy on the show. We had a wonderful conversation about his journey of being a young man, 10, 12 years old, and finding video and how that pulled him out of a path he was going on that wasn't leading to a good place. He tells us that story and how he works with the youth now in Boston and New York to help them stay on the right track. He shares with us his insider expertise on what kinds of equipment entrepreneurs need to have and how you can create great videos using your smartphone. He also talks to us about when you need to hire a videographer, what the difference is between doing live video, doing the more candid, easygoing video, and when you really do need to use professional videographers for your business. He had so much insight to share with us about the common mistakes that entrepreneurs make when they're shooting their videos. What maybe you or I might be doing that we could easily tweak if we did this one thing consistently. So I hope you enjoy this episode. If you're somebody, an entrepreneur or a nonprofit, and you really want to reach more of your community, build a community around your tribe, you're not going to want to miss this episode with Brandy Sales. He was such a generous, kind, sweet guest to have on the show. And also, if you are an entrepreneur who wants to build community through your brand and you might want to do video, but you're not clear on your message, you don't know what you really want to say in your video, you don't know what the core brand message is of your product, of your program, then I invite you to check out my coaching programs. You can go to heatherpoduska.com and click on the consulting tab. If you're a heart-centered entrepreneur, if you're someone who wants to impact lives, if you want to be more visible, but you need to really zip it all together and so that you're compelling and that people can hear your message and so that you can profit from your programs, you're going to want to check that out. Go to heatherpoduska.com and look under the consulting tab. I hope to see you there, and I hope you enjoy this episode of Thrive. Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Poduska, and welcome to this episode of Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a more abundant life and business. You're in for high-value content coming to you from industry leaders who are growing their businesses, making an impact, and rocking their brands. I'm thrilled to have my special guest here today, Brandy Sales. Brandy Sales is a 4-time international award-winning video producer who owns and operates his own video marketing agency that helps nonprofits raise over $100 million. His video marketing team has also helped entrepreneurs across the United States generate thousands of leads and continuously increase their revenues. Brandy has a business coaching program for freelance videographers, as well as 5 youth video programs he and his team provide for the city of Boston. In 2016, his youth video programs expanded, and he and his team now teach virtual youth video programs for Brooklyn, New York students. Earlier this year, Brandy released his newest product called the Smartphone Video School. Be seen, be paid. Thank you so much for being here, Brandy.
Thank you, Heather.
So, video producer, tell us, I always looked at Hollywood at the end when they would roll the credits and it'd say director, lead actor. Tell us what a producer does.
So a video producer is really the person that oversees everything that's happening for a production. They make sure things stay on time. They make sure there's money. They make sure there's crew.
Yeah.
They make sure, the talent is where they're supposed to be at certain times. They really are the person that makes everything happen.
And that's you.
That is me.
So you don't just, hop on the video scene as the producer. So how did you get to this level of expertise?
A long time ago. No, not. So really what happened was when I was 10, my sister brought home a video camera from college, and I was amazed by it, to be honest. I just kept playing with it all summer while she was home. I started making videos with it right away. And then 2 years later, I got involved with my local television station. And, by the end of week 1, I was editing. And the executive director at the time there, she was like, you might want to think about this as a career.
At 10?
That was 12. So that was 2 years after.
Well, start planning. You're getting to be an old man now.
Yeah, right? And I was like, well, maybe. And so after that, I produced 100 television shows in high school with my mother. It was a teen talk show for Burlington, Massachusetts. And then while I was in college, I worked in live television for Smart Traveler TV, which was an old cable show that was around that did traffic reports for Boston area. And I got hired at that TV station where I learned when I was in college, and I started a youth program then. Wow. So, there's more in between that's happened between then and now, but, that's really how I got really involved and interested in video. And I think one thing, if you know me, people will know that video's never been about making it, pretty and beautiful and using the best equipment, this and that. It's always been, for me, building community. That's always been my thing. How can I build community using video? And that's what I'm really all about.
So talk to us a little bit about what that means to build community through video. What does that look like?
Yeah, so let's use a nonprofit as an example. Nonprofits are looking to attract people into the community so they can raise more funds so that they can keep providing the great services they are for whoever they're providing services for. For me, I look at that and say, well, who's your community that you want to attract more of, and let's show them pieces of what you're doing here so that you can grow your community to engulf another community and just keep growing. Yeah. And you can do that with video. You can do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And for me, what I did was I looked at some of the marketing strategies that I've used in, past corporate jobs or whatever. And I brought those together with my community development skills that I have from working in higher education. And there we go.
So what is it about video? Like, why as human beings does it help to create community? What is that?
I think it's that feeling of having it's closest to 3D as you're going to get. You're getting a person's emotions on video. You're there right with them. Instead of looking at a picture, pictures are awesome and they can tell an emotional story. But video, you can hear the person, you can feel them if you're hearing them correctly, and you can see them. And you can really see them. You can see things that you might not see in a photograph. And I think that in itself resonates to folks who are watching videos.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to that. I was watching something the other night, and it was, I don't remember, it was a show where there were, it was an acting, like a sitcom or some show where there were actors. And I remember being really captivated by this woman's face because just I'm sure it was not conscious that she was doing it. Her body was responding to the emotion that she was feeling to play the character, and her eyebrow just went up in a certain way, and I was like, oh my, that's so cool that happened.
Right.
And it's another language. I mean, that's why it's called body language, right? And I think that's, it's unspoken, and you can see that.
Absolutely. It's, I'm actually going to be part of a conversation in a couple of weeks, and the question is, what's more important for video, visuals or audio? Oh, and wow. I'm not trying to swing this on you, but it's a really good question, because what is more important? And the way I was taught, visuals. We used to spend a lot of time in college watching videos, not silent films. We actually watched films that had words but silently.
Okay.
And we had to talk about what was happening, because any good video you should be able to watch without sound.
Yeah.
And understand what's happening.
Well, that's like opera, right? I mean, not everybody speaks Italian or Russian or German, but the emotion that's being portrayed through the music, which is also another language, but also, if you look mad, people
understand that.
Right. Or if you look happy.
Right.
So do you teach people about the body language do you help them with that when you say,
I do.
Oh, cool.
I do. Actually, I have a master's in applied communication.
Nice.
And part of that program was to read body language. So I can teach a little bit about some body language things like, looking a certain way on camera, blink rates, things like that, right? What does a certain blink rate mean? How to position yourself on camera to portray yourself as a little bit more calming. Those types of things I can pay attention to when I'm on a set, which helps out a lot, especially when I'm working with nonprofit agencies.
Sure, because those people probably aren't used to being in front of a camera.
No, they're petrified, typically. Typically petrified.
Have you ever seen that TED Talk? I think her name is Amy Cuddy.
I haven't, no.
And it's all about confident body language, and that if you stand like in a power stance, for a certain number of seconds, that your brain starts to register confidence.
Really?
So you can actually make yourself I suppose it's method acting. You can make yourself start to feel certain things by putting your body in certain positions that communicate those emotions. And I
like that.
I think one of them is leaning back is like a confident stance, and it's pretty cool. You should.
I'm gonna find that.
Yeah. It's pretty famous. I think it's
like it.
Millions of views.
Okay.
So tell us what kinds of nonprofits that you've worked with. I know you've done a lot of work with the city of Boston in different ways.
Yeah, so we've done some work with Boston Public Schools. We've done work with the BAA, Boston Athletic Association, the Demick Center. We've done some work with the Fulbright Association.
Nice.
And then we also have done some work with some startup nonprofits and a bunch of others in between.
Yeah.
The list could go on, but I have a passion for nonprofits, and that's always been a part of me. It's just been what I've grown up with. So.
Yeah. So where do you think that comes from? I mean, you say that you grew up with it, but what really draws you to that?
For me, it's seeing, my mom, it was just my mom and I growing up, and she'd always give time to whatever organization her children were involved in. So
good mommy.
Yeah. So that taught me a lot about what it meant to give back to your community. My sister is Boston Ballet since she was 4. Wow. So my mom was always volunteering there. I pretty much grew up there.
Can you do a good pirouette?
I used to.
Nice. Nice.
But, that was modeled to me growing up all my life. So that transferred into some of my business, and honestly, nonprofits just naturally became, were attracted to me, which I love.
I love that. I love that you're doing that, and it's such a great human life gift that you give yourself by giving of yourself in that way. I think, I
appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure there's, good synergy between the nonprofits and you because they can sense that about you.
Yeah, we have a blast. We have a blast.
Those nonprofits are real party people, huh?
They are. maybe not. No, they're fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, but you also work with startups and entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So talk to us about why it's important for entrepreneurs to start using video in their businesses.
Sure. So, especially solopreneurs, you're an army of one,
yes.
But video can turn you into an army of a lot.
Yeah,
is what I typically say. Now, if you want to send your message out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, video is the way to do it because it's the same message over and over again, and maybe you have 10 different videos doing it for you, but it's the same message going out over and over and over again. And honestly, you are upping the opportunity for yourself to be seen, and ultimately be paid.
Right.
Hence why I named my smartphone course "Be Seen, Be Paid."
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about that, because I think there's a misconception that people have that you have to have a lot of expensive equipment and you have to have a lot of technical expertise to really, do this. And obviously, through your course, there are other ways of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Smartphone Video School really was created for my clients who had already paid me, but they wanted to do more and they couldn't find the money to do more. So I said, well, what if I teach you with what you already have? Because a lot of them just had equipment in their houses. But they're like, I don't want to do this. I'm going to hire someone. So I was like, let me just simplify this for you. You have a phone. I'm going to spend a year testing lots of equipment because there's a lot of noise when it comes to accessories for your phone. And that's what we did. We found approximately $175 worth of equipment that can work with your smartphone and make beautiful videos. So any video that you see of me on the internet is the exact same equipment that I use in the smartphone video school. And so everything that I produce is the same exact equipment, $175 equipment. That's for everything. And I'm using it just to show that you don't have to have the expensive equipment to make beautiful looking video that has very awesome messages and content for your audiences.
And you shared like what those the equipment needs are in the course.
I do. In the course you actually get a certified checklist, and you just click on order now, and then you go to an online store and you pick what you want.
That's awesome.
That's
really awesome, because I think people do get intimidated, and everybody has a smartphone.
Right.
So what makes someone's video pop versus like, Snoresville?
Honestly, it's practice. Not everyone is going to be awesome right away on video, but it really is practice, and I teach a lot of that with my private clients. We talk a lot about practicing like a pro, and it really comes down to having a plan and executing that plan, and then that's when you start to pop. You become electric on video, is what I say. You become absolutely electric.
I mean, and as a performer, I know like you have a certain amount of energy that you have to give out when you're performing, and it is a performance, and I think that I'm a little bit biased because I know that everybody's doing live streaming and everybody is on. Everybody's on. And I think that there's a school of thought that just be yourself. Which of course, we want everybody to be themselves and not somebody else, and not fake or, misleading in any way. But it's a amped version of yourself, don't you think? It's like you have to send out more energy.
And I think the live culture, I've worked in live TV for a little while, so I think the live culture, you feel that anyhow. Whether you're on the camera or behind the camera, there is energy in live television that is unexplainable.
Because the stakes are high.
It is. It's exciting. It's vibrant, and you do come alive. But if you're not comfortable with that type of energy, you're not going to be able to perform. And that's why I say you have to practice. And then you'll be able to pop. Once you get comfortable with it, I work closely with a lady down in South Carolina who does No Fear Video. And, her thing is, she has an exercise that you're literally like practicing 45 times. Before you even putting yourself out there. Like it's rigid. Because, and I'm not using that number as a set in stone number, but what I am saying is it is like that. You do have to, even me as a pro, whenever I'm shooting with people, I practice. I practice before I get there.
You practice shooting.
I practice shooting. I practice like the light setups. I practice with the microphones. I'm testing to make sure they're working, but I'm also practicing. And every time I take a microphone out and clip it on someone, I want to make sure I'm doing it as fast as possible so everything's moving. And every time I use a certain light, I want to make sure I know that if a bulb blows, I know how to change it quickly. So, we keep moving. Those types of things, that's what I mean by you need to practice like a pro. It's not just about the performance in front of the camera, but it is in back of the camera too.
Well, and how do you think people get to be pros? You don't just hop on the scene as a pro. I mean, people who are pros have put the time and energy into doing it. It's so interesting. I was just watching a video online about those. I forget what it's called, but they're the cold baths. Is it the cryogenic? I don't know if that's the right word, but they're really cold bathtubs. And athletes use them, and I think Tony Robbins talks about them.
That sounds fun, though.
Well, it's really good for your nervous system. It's really good for your immune system. It's supposed to be very good for you. And the guy on the video was like, if you can't put yourself in a bathtub of cold water for 30 seconds, if you can't lead yourself to do that, how are you going to lead other people to do things that they don't want to do, that they're scared to do or uncomfortable about doing? And it's kind of like that. You don't get over, I always say you don't get over stage fright by sitting in the audience. You got to get up there. And, the nice thing about video is that If you do a video on your phone and you don't like it, you can
Just hit delete.
Just hit delete.
Yeah, that's one of the exercises we run.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Shoot video of yourself over and over again. Just keep deleting.
Cool.
Even if it's good, delete it.
I am not deleting the good ones.
For the exercise.
Oh, okay.
For the exercise.
Okay.
You do a certain amount and then you delete all of them no matter what. But we basically break them down to see how you've grown from, the first to the last until you're really comfortable.
Yeah, that's really good.
And that's, again, practice like a pro.
Absolutely. So what are some typical mistakes that you see entrepreneurs make with their video, within the video and just with video in their business?
Absolutely. No plan. Mm-hmm. You clearly don't have a plan for what the video is for. Mm-hmm. What happens is there's all kinds of content that comes out and you get really confused by the message. Mm-hmm. I use a great example of a real estate agent whenever I'm speaking. And she, she probably got some help to do the video, but you have no idea. I know she sells real estate, but she just says a lot of things.
Right.
So you really need to have a plan and you need to have an outline or a script of some sort. I also see people not using the right equipment or any equipment at all.
So we were talking about that before. Like one of the big things is lighting, right?
Yeah. If you're shooting on your smartphone, this is like the secret of smartphone video. This is what I've learned over the last year. Light. That's the secret. That's all it is. And whether you're outdoors, if you're outdoors, you have plenty of light because that's just bright. But if you're indoors, you need to add light. And I'm not talking like the floor lamp that you have next to you. That's not going to help. You need to get some sort of professional light that's going to help you. And honestly, you can get a low end for $50.
Yeah, I was just going to say
that will help you.
You don't have to get thousands of dollars.
No, you don't have to get. So I've shot smartphone video on my $1,000 light kit, and I've shot smartphone video on my $50 light kit, and I've shown audiences both, and no one has any idea which one's which. The bottom line is it's light. The light will make you look great when you're using your smartphone.
Well, light is huge, and it can, cast shadows in the wrong way. It can make you look older or sad or more beautiful. So you want to get that light just right.
Right.
So what are some tips that you can, besides, first we have lighting, mistake number one, messaging. Any other big ones? Sound.
Yeah, sound. A lot of people, I see a lot of, fashion people. For some odd reason, I have a lot of fashion folks in my feed. And they do a lot of closet, makeovers. Okay. And their phone, let's say, is 10 feet away. Yeah. And they're in the closet. You can't really hear them. Okay. I have a fix for them that it would cost them a little bit of money, but for your brand, it's worth it. Right. And I say a little bit of money, it's $89. Okay. Would be a fix for them where people would be able to hear them crystal clear. So which is huge.
Let me ask you a technical question about this because, I do a lot of Skype interviews and people are doing Facebook Live. What is the deal with the headphones to your computer? Is that just making you be able to hear better? Does that affect the sound?
So there's a microphone in your headphones. And it cuts down the feedback. Okay. So if you're listening to somebody on the other end, let's say you're doing a Skype call and you're recording it. Yeah. That audio is going to come through your computer into the microphone, and it's going to create what's called a loop, and it just gets loud and annoying. It squeals. Okay, so the headphones helps with that. You don't get that feedback.
And some people I know have a Yeti mic. Do you advise that for your computer, or is it the headphone?
The headphone works.
It does.
Yeah, the headphone is just fine.
Cool.
Oh, you look kind of cool too.
Well, I don't know, because it always messes with your hair.
Oh, right. I don't have hair, so all right, that's a good point. Yeah, I would use a Yeti mic. I don't have one personally. I personally go through a mixer, but the people that I do know that have Yeti mics, that can work out for you.
Okay, cool. And you were talking about mixers before, that it's actually possible to have a mixer for your phone?
There is. Yeah, there's a piece of equipment out, and the name escapes me right now, but it's made by Samsung, Samson.
Oh, and not Samsung.
No, Samsung. Okay. And they do a great job with smartphone video equipment in general. Okay. When it comes to audio. And basically, you can plug any professional microphone through an adapter that they have right into your smartphone. Cool. I've taken direct feeds from huge soundboards before, right into my smartphone. They actually have a new product out called the Go mic. And it's a wireless microphone.
Ooh.
So you have a wireless clip-on mic, you have a wireless handheld mic, and a wireless what's called a shotgun mic.
Oh, cool.
That's just coming out now.
So it sounds like there are so many options for us to do it ourselves. When should somebody hire somebody to help them versus just using their cell phone?
So I actually teach you want to do both.
Okay.
I teach you want to use a professional and you want to do it on your own because people are used to seeing do-it-yourself videos now. You should embrace that.
Yeah. Okay.
But so what you want to do is any video that's going to be the first video people see for anything, that should be professionally produced.
Okay.
If it's the first video that you're going to see on a homepage or say a landing page or anything like that, that should be professional. And then any supporting videos after that, I'm okay with do it yourself. To be honest, I'm absolutely okay with doing it on your own. If you don't have the time, hire the professional. Because I will say it's going to take time.
To take time to do
to create the videos. Yeah, because I mean, what really takes time is the editing process and the shooting process. It's going to take time. And even for myself, I mean, I shot 15 blog videos the other day, but it took me 3 hours. I'm a professional. You can probably multiply that by a little more.
Is that for the time setup, or is it for knowing the performance part of it?
Performance part.
Performance
yeah,
part.
That's a good question. Performance part, and then you're going to add the setup part.
Right.
Yeah, and if you don't have someone helping you, then you might be adding the reshoot part.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. And now it's starting to get even longer, more expensive.
Right.
Yeah, but I think I agree with you about that messaging part. If you know what your message is, I mean, that's like that's the core of what I do with helping people, because they don't know how to articulate that. And I think if you have 4 or 5 key brand core messages and you know what those are, and you can take those and break those down into like 10 topics, then when you go to someone like you, it's like boom, boom, boom. You're not wasting time like that.
Right. And it's super simple when you're working with a video producer that understands how business works too. Like myself, if you're coming to someone like me who understands that these are your messages, I'm going to roll with you like fast.
Yeah.
And that's very helpful for any video producer.
Cool. So if somebody wants to, work with you or know more about the smartphone, what is it called? The smartphone?
So I have the Smartphone Video School.
Video School. Okay.
Yeah. The Smartphone Video School, you can go to smartphonevideoschool.net.
Okay.
And then just in general about me, you can just go to brandysales.com. And I'm super, when's this airing? Actually, I should ask you that.
Probably in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. So in November, I am holding a live 2-day event.
Where's
in Boston.
Nice.
Right near the airport. It's going to be called the Smartphone Video Camp.
Nice.
And it's for the folks who might not be self-disciplined, who might not be able to do the online course for X, Y, and Z reasons. We're turning that online course into a 2-day live experience.
Nice.
Where you're going to get hands-on with the equipment, where you're going to get some one-on-one coaching with me and my team. You're going to be able to get scripts handed to you. You're going to do some workshops where you're going to think about some ideas for videos and find ideas right on your phone. You'll learn some editing apps, things like that. Yeah. So it's really gonna be a 2-day awesome, fun experience that my team and I are excited about. And so I can't wait for that. And you can go to smartphonevideocamp.net for that.
Smartphonevideocamp.net.
Yeah.
I really like that idea because it puts, I've taught performance classes before too. And even if there's one other person in the room, besides your hairbrush or your cat,
right,
it adds up the performance, like the nerves because you're performing in front of somebody.
Yeah.
And that's that practice. So it's a whole other level of putting yourself on the line, and to have somebody there to support you while you're doing that is huge.
Yeah. It's very different. Yeah. It's very, very different. That's why we're excited about it. Just to be able to be there. And I hate using the term hold your hand, but we like to do that. So,
well, I think people appreciate that.
We will absolutely hold your hand as long as you need it.
And then when you're done with that 2-day camp, will they have what will they have to take with them? Will they have some video to take with them then?
Yeah, they'll have an introduction video that they can take with themselves. And they'll also have a workbook of different activities that we've done over the 2 days.
That's great.
So yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
That's
It's gonna be cool.
Well, you're doing so many great things, and we didn't even talk about all of the projects that you're doing. So before we go, I do want to talk about the youth programs.
Oh,
That's
sure.
really important.
Yeah,
so talk
absolutely.
to us a little bit about what you're doing with the youth, why video, what you're doing in New York, in
absolutely.
Boston.
So that's actually how my business started.
Yeah.
Is a youth programs, and I got to rewind it back. It really was, video saved my life when I was 12, literally. I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing. And I probably should have gotten in trouble for them, but I wasn't. And I reflected quickly when I found video, and I realized quickly that, hey, all of my friends could actually hang out in one place and we could do something fun. So that same concept I decided to take with me. As I launched my business, that I do have a fun brand. Hanging out with me or anybody that I work with is fun, and I wanted that experience for youth as well, because that's our future.
Right.
I mean, the last words my mom said to me before she passed was she said, "Do something," and I could have taken it as like go out and just go hang out with some friends, do something, but it's a little bit different. And I knew it was different. She meant do something to change the world. And I know I can do that through video. I can change somebody's life through video. And I've seen it already with some of the teens that we had worked with when we first launched. They're going to college now.
Oh my gosh.
College wasn't even in their vocabulary when we first started working with them. Some of the students that we worked with in our first programs, they didn't know how to read.
Wow.
They're reading. Actually, our first program, all of the students that we worked with, none of them had jobs or anything like that. And they all found jobs right after our program. And we actually had to shut down the program. We shut ourselves down is what we say. But we're happy about it.
Yeah.
Because they found something that they could be proud of. Wow. And they found something that inspired them. And it wasn't just video. It was really about being part of a community.
Right.
Again, community. It was being part of that community and having that confidence to go out and create a better self. That's really what we're doing when we're working with youth in Boston or in Brooklyn or wherever it is.
I love that. I'm so glad that we took the time to talk about that, because it's so important, and it helps people who are watching this understand your heart and where you're coming from and why this is so important. It's not just, here's how you do your smartphone.
It's really, and I appreciate you saying that. It really is about building a more confident self and contributing to whatever community you're part of, whether that's an online community or your actual community that you live in. I don't care what community it is. If you're confident and you can contribute to that community, that means we're making a better world.
I love that. And I so appreciate your contribution here and coming and sharing your time with us and your expertise. And I know that everybody watching has learned so much about equipment, about what to do, what not to do, and all the different things that are available to them through video that they, maybe 20 years that wasn't even possible.
That's for sure.
I know social media gets a bad rap, and well-deserved in some ways, but it also is a huge connector. And
it's huge.
It's huge. I mean, we met in passing in person,
right?
But we've stayed in touch
through social media.
And now we're here again.
Right.
So it's interconnected. So thank you so much for being here. And one last question before we
Absolutely.
go. Brandy, what does it mean to you to thrive?
To thrive, I believe it's to get to a point where you see things so clearly that you're able to do anything that you really want to, and you can bring as many people with you as possible.
Oh, I love that answer. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having you on the show. Thank you. And thank you guys for joining us as well. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Thrive. And until next time, here's to hitting all your high notes. Take care. Hi, everyone. everyone, it's Heather again. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Thrive. Every week we try to bring you people and information to help you change your life for the better, to grow your business, to expand your thinking, and to open your heart. If you did enjoy this content, I would so appreciate it if you would go to iTunes and review us. Let us know how we're doing. We'd love to hear your thoughts and your feedback. And if you found this information helpful or useful in any way, please share it on out. Let your friends and family know about Thrive. And finally, if you'd like to know more about me, you can visit me at heatherpoduska.com. Until next time, here's to hitting all your high notes.